So why do we allow them to treat us like that? I got to tell you guys something. It isn't all their fault. We should not be pointing all the fingers at the doctors going, they're just a bunch of drug pushers. And like Bill Maher says, and the government is their dealer right behind that. There's absolutely a medical, pharmaco, governmental, educational, institutional, white ivory tower, and they do kowtow to it. But it's all because of market demand. These people are market followers. And back in the 19th century, people took responsibility, and doctors were a lot more like the Eastern doctors. So you hear the story about the Eastern doctor gets paid as long as the people in the village are healthy. If they get sick, they cut off the guy's payments. And it's the opposite here. So the reason is, in my belief, a couple things. For one thing, I call this a better health and wellness meter. I made this up. People don't really do anything about their health until they get sick. So there's no demand for health care, quote unquote, until you feel the symptoms, something going on. Now let's just look. This is the meter, okay? And for me, it's a functional meter. So here is 100% function, which is the way we're designed perfectly, right? And here's zero function, which is what? That's dead. Now, most of us don't do anything about our symptoms until we get to about, right? Let's say symptoms appear here. So all of this loss of function, we've gone through it 8 different ways here about you lose function first. Then all of a sudden the symptom shows up. And what do most people do? They just take something to get back to no symptoms. So if you have someone, like anyone you ask today, how you doing? If they're not having a symptom at that moment, they're going to say, I'm fine. They might be just about to drop down. So one of the most common symptoms is tiredness and fatigue, for instance, right, Brandon? So what do most people do? They grab something. They self-medicate. I saw a guy, this is before I was in this business. I was the vice president of a company. It was 10 o'clock in the morning. I drove up to a drive-through coffee. I ordered a 12-ounce with cream only. 12 ounces with cream only, no sugar, none of that stuff. I heard a guy on the other side. It was a two-way drive-through coffee thing. They got those in California. I heard him order. It just didn't sound right. I want a triple espresso with 4 sugars. And I thought, man, that don't sound right. That can't even taste good. You know, I mean, he didn't get that recommendation from his buddy. Hey, you got to go try that triple espresso with 4 sugars, man. They're awesome. This is a guy who was self-medicating for a long time. Now, so, you know, if your systems and function is deteriorating, and all you do is keep treating the symptoms, it's just like that lady said. That lady said in that last bit there, every time they came back, remember the revolving door? Each time they came back, they'd lost a little more function. They're a little more nuts, or whatever it was in that case. They kept losing function. So what do you need? They would just give them more drugs. This time, you know, 500 milligrams good this time. Next time, oh, you pump that guy up to 1,000, you know, 50, whatever. It's just like the story I told you in the beginning with John Lee, the lady with the pain. Pills didn't work every day. Do the surgery, the gallbladder. So if you are continually self-medicating and only taking yourself back to here, then there's a point which you can't even medicate yourself anymore. You got to go get some help. This is when people start seeing doctors, and they just take out a bigger symptom removal stick and whack them and back and back. And then surgery's down here, and death. You know, we talked about the physiology and the morphology. Death is there. So instead, if this is low energy, what's this? High energy all the time, because your body's functioning right, and you can give a lecture until 5 o'clock in the afternoon with just as much energy as when you started, right? With just nothing but a hamburger for lunch. Anyway, so that's one reason why I feel that it's not doctor's fault. It's because it's the only thing traditionally we only ever went to. We never said, hey, I feel like really great all the time, but I want to know what this feels like. And we need to think about what does that feel like, because that's what the possibility is. If this is tired and fatigued, and this is a lot of high energy, well, you know, most people, if they're tired and fatigued and they just keep doing this, they're going to end up with a poor immune system, let's say. So now they're getting sick, and they're going to the doctor and taking antibiotics, and it's getting worse and worse. So what's this? This is a really good immune system. This is one that you don't even get sick. And if you do, it's only for a short period of time. You know, like you kick its butt instead of it kicking yours when that little bug comes along. Now, who here eats raw eggs, for instance? I love raw eggs. Raw eggs, I'm parasympathetic fast oxidized raw eggs. If I'm doing a shake, I'm throwing some eggs in there. And people say, oh, what about salmonella? Well, I've met Joe Mercola in person and went to one of his, and he told the story that he uses only 1 in 30,000 eggs has any salmonella, and a really healthy person would only get flu-like symptoms. So if you're up here and you eat some bad bugs, you might get diarrhea or something, you know, but you're not going to die. People down here, they're the ones who die from salmonella. That's why salmonella is so bad, because they're already unhealthy and that sort of thing. So it's all about being up here with a perfectly functioning immune system, energy production, hormone, immune, digestion, detoxification, all this sort of stuff. That's why I absolutely guarantee you're going to help people by following this method. Now, so doctors are market followers. They're just doing what you ask them to do. Doc, my head hurts. Here, take this. And also, on a much bigger picture, we never really asked them to teach us how not to ever have to come and see them. So they never studied it. They never learned. If you look back in the turn of the century and a little bit forward, the middle class really started to develop. And it was about, hey, I want to live like this. I want to eat this and drink that and not exercise and not work. I got a cushy job now. All that sort of the management jobs and all that sort of stuff came along. And these people weren't joining gyms back then. They looked at guys like Jack LaLanne and Joe Weider as if they were nutcases exercising. Matter of fact, until the 60s, doctors told people that exercise will wear your joints out. And don't do it. All that running and stuff is bad for you. So some of it is, but the idea is that we never asked. We only asked for when, and so they're right there. And guess who their willing cohorts were? The patented drug companies, obviously. So now, this is again why you guys are in the perfect position to really have successful businesses, because now people are asking,